The Biligirirangana Hills, commonly called BR Hills, is a hill range situated in southeastern Karnataka, at its border with Tamil Nadu in South India. The area is called Biligiriranganatha Swamy Temple Wildlife Sanctuary or simply BRT Wildlife Sanctuary. It is a protected reserve under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Being at the confluence of the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, the sanctuary is home to ecosystems that are unique to both the mountain ranges. The site was declared a tiger reserve in January 2011 by the Karnataka government, a few months after approval from India's National Tiger Conservation Authority. Location: the hills are located at the easternmost edge of the Western Ghats and support diverse flora and fauna in view of the various habitat types supported. A wildlife sanctuary of 322.4 square kilometers was created around the temple on June 27, 1974, and enlarged to 539.52 square kilometers on January 14, 1987. The sanctuary derives its name by Ligire from the white rock face that constitutes the major hill crowned with a temple of Lord Rangaswamy, or from the white mist and the silver clouds that cover these hills for a greater part of the year. The hills are in the Yelanda, Illegal and Kumarajanagar talukas of Kumarajanagar district of Karnataka. They are contiguous with hills in Sathyamangalam Wildlife Sanctuary in Erode district of Tamil Nadu to the south. By road, they are about 90 km from Mysore and 160 km from Bangalore. The road leading to the village on top of the hills may be approached either from Yelanda or Kumarajanagar. Biligiriranganatha Temple. The Temple of Ranganatha is situated at the edge of a bare cliff overlooking the northern parts of the sanctuary. The bare rock cliff looks white in color, giving the hill its name. The deity is often referred to as Biligiriranga and is depicted in a unique standing position. The Ranganatha deity at this temple is possibly the only standing form of Ranganatha, attributed to Tipu Sultan's rechristening of a previous Venkatesha temple, when he visited these hills during a hunting expedition. This may have happened to attract patronage of the Sultan as he was supposed to be a patron of Ranganatha. Other deities in the temple include those of Ranganayaki and several Alvars. An annual car festival is held during Veshalkala in the month of April. Every 2 years, the local Soliga tribe present a large pair of slippers measuring 1 foot and 9 inches, to Ranganatha. 10. Dodda Sampige, a large Michelia champaca known as Dodda Sampige, from Canada for large champak tree, r squared cubed char squared cubed r squared squared r squared r squared squared r squared, r cubed is one of several sacred groves of India of the Soliga people. The tree is believed to be several hundred years old and its large canopy provides shelter to a number of lingams worshipped by local communities, including the Soligas. The tree is on the banks of a river, Bhagavi. On the occasion of Mahashivatri, several festivities including dance and prayers are traditionally performed around a fire by the Soligas. Hill range: the branch hills links the Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats, allowing animals to move between them and facilitating gene flow between populations of species in these areas. Thus, this sanctuary serves as an important biological bridge for the biota of the entire Deccan Plateau. The branch hills along with the male Mahadeshwara Hills range forms a distinctly unusual ridge running north-south amidst the plains of Bangalore, Mysore, 800 m above MSL, and Krishnagiri, 450 m above MSL. The peaks of these lofty range rise as high as 1800 m. The highest hill is Katchari Betta, at 1800 MSL. Various observations point to a possible biogeographic link between BR Hills and Nilgiri ranges. Biogeographically, the sanctuary is unique. It is located between 11° and 12° N and the ridges of the hills run in the north-south direction. It is a projection of the Western Ghats in a northeasterly direction and meets the splintered hills of the Eastern Ghats at 78° E. This unique extension of Western Ghats constitutes a live bridge between the Eastern and Western Ghats, with the sanctuary located almost in the middle of this bridge. Thus, the biota of BRT Sanctuary can be expected to be predominantly of Western Ghats in nature with significant proportion of Eastern elements as well. Climate and vegetation: the sanctuary, 35 km long north-south and 15 km wide east-west is spread over an area of 540 km due with a wide variation in mean temperature and annual rainfall. The hill ranges within this sanctuary raise as high as 1200 m above the basal plateau of 600 m and run north-south in two ridges. The wide range of climatic conditions along with the altitude variations within the small area of the sanctuary have translated it into a highly heterogeneous mosaic of habitat such that we find almost all major forest vegetation types: a Euroscrub, deciduous, riparian, evergreen, shoalers and grasslands. The forests harbor close to 800 species of plants from various families and shows a close affinity to the Western Ghats. Getting there, by road, take the Bangalore-Mysore highway, and drive till Madur. Turn left after leaving Madur and drive till you reach Malovali. Continue driving past Malovali and get to Kozhikode town. BR Hills is another 30 minutes drive from Kozhikode. Those who come from Coimbatore can take either KSRTC or TNSTC to reach Kumarajanagar. Buses ply every 20 minutes. Train: nearest train station is in Kumarajanagar, 40 km from BR Hills. Daily 6 trains connect Kumarajanagar with Mysore and one among the 6 goes to Tirupati via Bangalore. Flight: Mysore Airport is the nearest domestic airport, which has tri-weekly non-stop flights to Bangalore operated by SpiceJet. Coimbatore Airport, 185 km from BR Hills, is nearest international airport. But Coimbatore has less connectivity compared to Bangalore International Airport, which is 220 km from BR Hills. Flora and fauna: the Biligirirangana Hills, covered with tropical dry broadleaf forest, part of the South Deccan Plateau dry deciduous forests ecoregion. The forests range from scrub forests at lower elevations, degraded by overuse, to the tall deciduous forests typical of the ecoregion, to stunted shoaler forests and montane grasslands at the highest elevations, which exceed 1800 meters. The forests form an important wildlife corridor between the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, linking the largest populations of Asian elephants and tigers in southern India. The most conspicuous mammals in the BR Hills are the herds of wild elephants. The Branch Hills is the only forest east of the main Western Ghats mountain ranges in the central southern peninsula to harbor these pachyderms in large numbers. The forests were the study area for R. Sukumar, a scientist who studied the elephants of the area in the early 80s. A recent survey has revealed the presence of 17 tigers in this sanctuary. The forests are well known for many gaur, the largest bovines. BR Hills are a good place for viewing many other large and small animals. There are about 26 species of mammals recorded in this sanctuary. The other mammals include sampoor, chital, the shy-barking deer which are quite common here and the rare four-horned antelope. Carnivores include tigers, leopards, wild dogs, lesser cats and sloth bears, and among arboreal mammals 2 species of primates and 3 species of squirrels including the giant flying squirrel are recorded. A recent survey of tigers by DNA analysis of scat samples has revealed 17 tigers, although the number may be more. 254 species of birds recorded in the BR Hills. These include the enigmatic southern population of the white-winged tit, a specimen of which was collected by a C. Morris and now housed in the Natural History Museum at Tring. A recently discovered species includes a microelid frog, Microelis oligari, named after the Soligas, an indigenous tribe that inhabit these hills. Management: the forests are managed by the Karnataka Forest Department. An IFS officer of the rank of a Deputy Conservator of Forests is in charge of the sanctuary. The officer operates from his office in Kumarajanagar. For administrative convenience, the sanctuary is divided into 4 ranges: a Yulanda, Illegal, Kumarajanagar and Punja ranges, with the illegal range being the largest. Each range is in turn headed by a range forest officer. People and culture: for hundreds of years, this region has been the home for the semi-nomadic Soliga tribe. The forest regions of Yulanda, Chamarajanagar and Illegal, including the hilly tracts and foothills of Biligirirangan and Male Mahadeshwara in the southern part of Karnataka, are inhabited by nearly 20,000 Soliga tribal people. The Soligas inhabiting this range were nature worshippers originally, and revere a large champaka tree, called Dodda Sampige in the local language. Randolph C. Morris, a Scotsman, introduced coffee into the hills in the latter half of the 19th century. The estate he established at Hunameti was maintained by his son Colonel Ralph Morris, a hunter-naturalist, who published prolifically about the natural history of the hills in the Journal of the Bombay Natural History Society. He left the hills after independence, and the estate is privately owned. His daughter, Monica Jackson, revisited the places and wrote about her memories in the book Going Back. Among the many reputed guests that Colonel Morris had, were Dr. Salim Ali, who visited him during the Birds of Mysore survey, and E.P.G., a naturalist. The estate still preserves the home of the Morrises. Not far from this estate is the Hunameti Kalu, a boulder which gives a metallic clang when struck with a rock. Soliga legend has it that the rock has gold within. Hunameti itself means golden footprint and refers to a legend that the Lord Ranganatha leapt across the hills, changing his shape at each step and leaving his footprint on the hills. The hills are famous for the temple of Lord Ranganatha or Lord Venkatesha, which is situated on the highest peak of the hill range, on the white cliff which gives the hill its name. The local form of the deity is called Biligiriranga and is depicted in a unique standing position. The annual Car Festival of the deity, held during a Euroe Veshalkha Euroe in the month of April, is famous in the region and attracts thousands of pilgrims from far and wide. The Ratha festival is celebrated at Biligiriranga Hills. The local tribes present a large pair of slippers measuring 1 foot and 9 inches, made up of skin, to the Ranganatha once in 2 years. Anthropology. There have been numerous megalithic burial sites that have been discovered from within and in the immediate vicinity of the sanctuary, testifying to the presence of indigenous people in these regions for a long time. There are 2 local NGOs which work for integrated tribal development and biodiversity conservation in the sanctuary. Threats. Quarrying in the fringes of the hills is rampant after the brief lull of activities during the time when the dreaded bandit Veerappan was on the run. After his death, the quarrying activities have taken off with renewed vigor with strong political backing. The Forest Department and the local NGOs were instrumental in banning disposal of plastic within the sanctuary. Overgrazing, firewood collection etc. are other threats. References. 12. Nixon, AMA, Rao, S., Karthik, K., and Ashraf, NVK. 2008. Conservation of Malabar civet in Kerala and Karnataka, final report submitted by Wildlife Trust of India to Ministry of Environment and Forests, India. External links: BR Hills elephants encounter a Euro-lopes, tiger census at BRT Wells, ATREE, Vivekananda Girijana Kalyana Kendra. A 25-year-old NGO dedicated to integrated tribal development in BR Hills.